everyone, so this is Lizzie and I'm here with a new series now. This is the 3 cards a pack series and I'm starting off with the Tropical Summer Mega Pack, and as ever I'm going straight on into my first card here, and I am just taking a piece of the patterned paper that's within the Mega Pack, and both the front and back coordinate fantastically. So I've layered the top 2/3 of the card with one side of the patterned paper, and then I've cut another piece at the bottom and flipped it over, and then I'm going to mount that up with some foam tape, as you can see. And here I'm kind of creating a little border. This is what I like to do with my peel-offs. I like to sort of cover the seams over, and it's just to show you that you don't actually have to have the peel-offs at all. You can just use whatever you have in your stash. And here I'm trimming off the edges of that overhang because it is that much easier to trim that way rather than to measure it all first off. And here I'm popping some wet sticky glue along the back of that gold strip just to lay down, and I'm laying it flat on the back piece as opposed to sticking it up on the piece that's raised. And here I just die cut out a pineapple, and I did actually die cut one out in green. I'm not sure if you can see there off to the side, but that little guy this time didn't make the cut, I'm afraid. It just didn't sit right with me, so you'll see me switch that out later. But anyway, here I'm doing the sentiment. Now, I wanted to do Aloha because of the pineapples and it's tropical and feeling, very adventurous. And with this stamp set that comes in the Mega Pack, it joins up perfectly. It's lovely. So, as I knew I wanted to have my sentiment on the right-hand side of the card, I started writing from the right hand, as it were, so to make sure that it was in the right place. And this worked really well because it meant that I could see that the tail of the letters were overlapping what I'd already stamped, rather than trying to make sure that I was fitting the letters onto these tiny tails. So anyway, that was all stamped up in Versa Mark ink. I always get Versamark and Versafine confused when I'm doing a voiceover, sorry about that. And then I've used some Nuvo, the Gold Enchantment embossing powder, and I'm just heat setting that. And this is only some standard white cardstock that I had in my stash that I'm using here. It's nothing fancy at all. And that embossing powder is so sparkly and shiny. It is gorgeous. Okay, and then I'm just trimming it down now. Again, it's easier to do the trimming after you've done the stamping because, especially with an alphabet stamp, you don't actually know how much space you're going to take. And here I'm just running a little bit of glue along that bottom edge because I had some of that gold thin strip left over from what I trimmed off of the edge of the card base, so I thought I may as well use it. And I did actually just pop a small piece of tape there over the seam just to reinforce a little bit more securely. And here you can see the green pineapple had been adiosed, and I'm now working with 2 of these gold glittered pineapples. I'm just popping some glue on the bottom portions because those are the bits that are going to be stuck onto the sentiment area, and one in front of the other. And then very simply I pop some foam tape behind the sentiment panel, and I double it up towards the top because if you remember, the bottom panel is slightly raised. So here I've got some great dimension now. There's 3 layers thick, so this one's probably not going to go through the post. But yeah, so that's the first card that I made using the Mega Pack. And I did leave the pineapples free at the top, and it was intentional. I like a little bit of movement sometimes. So here's card 2. Now this flamingo paper sang to me. I absolutely love it, and here I'm just trying to work out which piece is best to use so that I have a nice centering on the card. So I chop a bit to make sure that I have some flamingos in the middle, and then also, as per usual, I've left it a little bit larger, and I'm just running some double-sided tape. You can use tape runner, you can use ATG. There's, it's just whatever you prefer. And to be honest, sellotape was right in front of me, so that was why that got used. Okay, once I'd stuck it down, turn it over, trim off the extra to make sure that you've got a nice good coverage on the front. And from here now, I have found, this is a Mama Elephant die, one of my favourite die sets, and I've just die cut a piece of vellum. And here I've die cut the flower, which I have learnt since having this mega pack. It's called a hibiscus, and I feel very green thumbed for knowing that. And I've picked out my sentiment, which is with love, and I've laid out all of the little letters of the alphabet. Now, I don't actually show very much of this, I'm afraid, because my head made a very large appearance throughout this. So I just did it in exactly the same way as I did in the last card. I started with the final letter and then worked my way back, because getting those tails to touch what I'd already stamped was simpler than trying to get the letter to lay into the little tail that was left over. And then again I used the gold embossing powder. I did actually have to take a paintbrush to the vellum on this occasion because there was a lot of static, but it only took a moment or two and it looks absolutely fine now. Here I'm popping some wet glue behind one of the hibiscus flowers, and on the other I'm just popping some very small foam squares. Now these ones, I merely snipped some of the foam squares in half, so to be able to use those behind the embossing and give a little bit of support. And then I popped some full squares behind the flowers, and once all the backing was removed, this was how I attached the vellum onto the front of the card. So there is actually still quite a lot of movement with the vellum, but as one flower is up and one is down, I think that's a really nice little card there. Okay, so card 3. We're ploughing through them, aren't we? I should mention actually that I'm using American standard size cards here, 4 1/4 by 11, and then scoring at 4 1/2. Anyway, here I'm taking another piece of the paper from the Mega Pack, and this is one of the ones that is textured to be like canvas. And then I'm having a little look at this palm tree die and trying to work out where I want to place it. And then I run it through the die cutter, slightly off to the side, and then I draw like a little arch to carry on the slope from like the island. And then using some washi tape, I put it back in place and I lay it over some black mirror cardstock. And then I trim that down using my paper trimmer. And this is something that I do recommend in my videos that you don't do. And you're going to see why I recommend it in a moment. And that is because the blade pushes the top part of the foil away. So, I mean, I managed to sort of save it with my thumb just running it over, but that is why. And I should practice what I preach. But anyway, okay, so now I've got a nice, very thin, narrow border around the edge of the tile, and I'm popping some double-sided tape all over the back of that top piece. And then I stick it down, and then I remove the bottom piece. So now that I know that everything's where it should be and it's all balanced, and I lay back in that the die cut shape so that I can paper piece all of the little negative spaces back in. So I'm going for a silhouette look. And here, just that tiny little piece back in. And then here, this is another die from that Mother Elephant set, and it's a circle. And I just lay it in that little corner there to act like the sun. And then using a pencil, because you can draw on the glitter cardstock with pencil, it's not a problem. And then I just pop that into the corner there. And then I die cut 2 of the little cocktail glasses. And again, my head makes a massive appearance in all of this, so I did cut it out, but I just merely typed relax, excuse me, and I did type it from the other direction this time, and I tried to jump the letters up and down a little bit, as you often see with calligraphy. And I'm just popping the panel up here now on some foam tape, popping that straight onto the middle and centre of my card base, and using my Nuvo fine tip glue pen, which is ideal for these tiny, really little die cuts. I'm just popping some all over the back of my two little cocktails, and I just sit those towards the bottom of my card. Now, I had obviously this leftover piece of this die cut, so I just popped a little bit of wet glue on it and slid it in the inside. You can't throw a whole die cut away, can you? So there we go. They are my first cards in my new series. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I look forward to sharing with you again soon. Thanks very much. Until next time, take care and happy paper crafting. Bye!